Holy crap, they actually buffed this vehicle, especially for the lower plate, because originally it was the Conqueror's lower plate that could be pinned by even tier 6s, but now it's 250mm effective. So basically a British version of a T110E3, except it's faster and it has the best DPM out of all the vehicles in the game, 3,700. I am terrified. I mean, it's not like getting hit by a 183mm Hesh round. That sucks. But with this vehicle, it practically punches you 1,000 times until you're dead. So, and you're dead. Jesus Christ. I am terrified. So welcome back, folks. Today we'll cover the FV217, the Badger, replacing the FV215b 1A3. So visually, it's like the Conqueror with a superstructure and a large ass gun, but it never actually existed in real life. So this is 123mm, very odd number for a caliber, but it is visually like the Conqueror, except it's a large ass gun. And this is only a paper tank, a model tank, so Wargaming could do whatever the hell they want with the stats, and therefore they buffed the crap out of the lower plate's armor to 250mm at the weakest. It's also like 300mm on the sponsons, where the tow hooks are on the vehicle. Yeah, insane. So this thing actually moves like a heavy tank, like a Conqueror. In terms of speed, it has about 15 horsepower per ton ratio or 14 horsepower per ton ratio, so it's not slow to rev up. The only downside is it can move at 30 km per hour top speed, and terrain resistance is not that great, but still, it's like a heavy tank, and it has a lot of damaging potential with the gun. Holy crap. It has a large engine deck, so don't get hit by artillery, obviously, but yeah, it's like a T110E3, practically, except the gun fires every 6.7 seconds with a rammer and vents and brothers in arms. So it's like a tier 9 medium tank, except you do 480 alpha per hit. There's no weak spots. There's no mini machine gun turret like the Tortoise with the loader hatch at the top, so it's very difficult to penetrate this vehicle. And the gun is pretty comfortable too. It has 15 degrees to each side and 10 degrees of gun depression, so this thing can actually haul down if needed. Oh my god. Jesus, how do you kill this thing? There's no weak spots. It can only artillery hit or high explosive, but this gun encasement, it's 350mm. Even if you shoot here with high explosive, it does nothing. Jesus. So here is the good news. You will have this vehicle if you already bought the FV215b 1A3 in your garage. So it's a free switch if you already have the Death Star with the Hesh round. But what's also good is all the crew will be freely retrained. So it's like go retrain all the crew skills, but it's free. So you get all the crew back with the reset for all the skills, and you'll get a 100% radio operator for this vehicle, because originally there's no radio operator for the Death Star. So you get a free crew member at 100%. He has no additional skills, so you probably train situational awareness, obviously, but yeah, this thing, it's scary. So let's take a look at the stats, because that's where the good stuff is. So here comes the craziness. And let's get started with the armor of the Badger first. So at the front, the lower plate is about 250 to 260 in the middle. The sponsons for the road wheel support it's about 290. So you have to shoot at the middle of the lower plate. Shooting at the sides requires gold shell, and the middle also requires gold shell if you're shooting at it from a distance. So based on the penetration drop. So Jesus Christ. The upper plate 290, the covering for the driver hatch and the commander hatch, it's about 317, 315. The superstructure 320. The upper parts of the superstructure 350 or so. Jesus. The gun encasement 356 flat. There are mantlets covering the gun, as well as being rounded with armor underneath, so don't even think about it. There are nooks inside the gun encasement, the little nook right here, but it's 152, well sloped as well, so unless this vehicle is turning its side towards you, but it still, yeah, requires a hefty angle of the vehicle in order to penetrate, so you might as well drive towards the side and shoot at the engine deck, right? But geez, unless your vehicle is really tall and has a lot of gun depression, you could shoot downwards into this nook right here, but not a lot of vehicles could do that. The E100 has like 8 degrees of gun depression, or 10, but still not enough to shoot downwards into here, I believe. So yeah, it could be safe, but yeah, the frontal armor of this vehicle is practically like a T110E3. There are no machine gun mini turrets or sponsons jutting out like with any other AT series. None of that crap. So, Jesus, how do you penetrate this vehicle? There's no way of penetrating. I mean, it's not like you have weak spots on the small superstructure and whatnot for the driver hatch or the commander hatch. Actually, this is the driver. That's the commander because British people are flipped on the driving sides. But there are no like commander cupolas, mini machine gun turrets, nothing. Side armor for the superstructure, 150. That's actually pretty decent. That's like a KV4. So you could bait out shots with side scraping. And it's sloped upwards. So you could drive like this. And it's actually 300 millimeters. That's not bad. It's 100 millimeter underneath the superstructure, but it does have side skirts covering the sides as well as tracks. So, and you could get hit right here between the tracks and right underneath the superstructure, but it's a small area, so I wouldn't put money on it. Yeah. The roof, yeah, it's pretty weak. 17 millimeters for the engine deck and 64 for the actual superstructure, so don't get hit in the engine deck, especially with artillery. That would suck. The rear, 38. Ugh. So frontally, this thing has a lot of armor. A lot. And the gun traverse angles are pretty wide. That's pretty good. I mean, it's not as crazy as the Tortoise, but and the FV215b 1A3, but still, it's still pretty good. And you can bait out shots with this lower plate. So people would think, ooh, you tried to side scrape out of a corner, and they will shoot at the lower plate. But that actually has covering over the sponsons. That's like 300 millimeters. And you'll take the shot and you'll pull back into cover. Jesus Christ. So let's take a look at the actual other stats. 272 millimeters of pen. Below average. Way below average for the large caliber guns. But this thing is a rapid fire gun. It's not a boomstick of a gun. So that's a trade-off. That's a weakness about this vehicle. But 272 millimeters, it's nothing to scoff at. And this thing has 60 rounds and shoot gold shell. So it's like the FV215b. If you can't pin, load gold. You'll pin. So it cannot penetrate itself though. That's kind of funny. It could not penetrate itself at a distance because shell drop off. And this thing has angling of the lower plate, it cannot penetrate itself into the lower plate. That's funny. Alpha, it's below average, but usually you have 150mm plus guns at tier 10, so obviously below average, but this thing has the best DPM out of all the vehicles in the game. Actually post STRV 103 nerf, because originally the STRV 103 had 3800 DPM with siege mode on, but they took that out, so this is actually the best DPM now, so that's insane. And the shell velocity is not bad, 1000 meters per second. It's not crazy as APCR, but it is AP shell, and that's a big plus because 5 degrees of normalization compared to 2. So yeah, AP rounds, not bad. 60 rounds too, so pretty decent. So put a gun rammer, put a vent, and this thing reloads at 6.8 seconds, basically. Christ. And you possibly put binoculars to help with the view range, and because you don't need anything else, accuracy is pretty good, aim time pretty fast. Jesus Christ, that's the configuration, but yeah, amazing accuracy, fast aim time, doesn't have the turret dispersion as the Grill 15, so if you move the gun, it doesn't bloom like crazy. That's a big drawback on the Grill 15, even though it has pretty good accuracy, very good aim time. That bloom, it's the biggest downfall of the Grill 15, so this vehicle is actually pretty good. 10 degrees of gun depression, 20 elevation, gun traverse angles, 15 to each side, that's very comfortable. Turret traverse speed for the gun, pretty slow, so the gun moves relatively slow, but it's alright. Hull traverse, 22 degrees, it's alright, but has 14.62 horsepower per ton ratio. What? That's almost a medium tank's horsepower per ton ratio. That's insane. Has only 30 kilometers per hour top speed, 12 reverse, so it's not going anywhere fast, but it does rev up pretty quickly. Terrain resistance, below average, so this thing will get bogged down, so that sucks, but it's a large vehicle, has a lot of health, only 100 less than the Jagdpanzer E100, so 2100. Has a lot of health for the ammo rack, so don't worry about getting ammo racked or getting a damaged ammo rack. A lot of armor at the front, yada yada. Has pretty decent view range, 8 above average. 390 meters of view range with binoculars. You could scout for yourself, and this thing has the armor to take the hits. Camo rating, above average, so it's not as big as the Jagdpanzer E100s or the FV215b 183s. Decent. So yeah, cost the same as any other tier 10s, but you'll get it for free if you already have the 183. But this thing weighs about 65 tons, has a crew of 6. Yep. So yeah, it's pretty insane, but the main comparison is with the E3, the T110 E3 with the armor layout, because with the E3 there are practically no weak spots as well. The mini machine gun, mini turret doesn't count. That's insane. The cheeks, also pretty insane. But the only weak spot on the E3 is the lower plate, and that's about 240, 235 or so. So yeah, you could get hit right here, and that's the actual weak spot, right into the nook of the gun encasement, but it's a very small area. Not a lot of people know about it, but yeah, with the E3, you cannot gold shell pin this thing. Yeah, even with Jagdpanzer E100, you cannot gold shell pin. Whereas for the Badger, you could get pinned with high explosive anti-tank round from a Jagdpanzer E100. Maybe from a E100 at very close distance, but it's still very good. Like very, very good. So comparison wise, it's faster to rev up than the T110E3. It doesn't have as great of terrain resistance, but it's faster. So the main difference, or to take away from this, is before the T95 got buffed in terms of speed, it felt really, really slow. But it got buffed from 12 kilometers per hour to 20, and that made a dramatic difference in terms of speed of that vehicle. This is practically the same. So even though there are trade-offs from the horsepower per ton ratio to the terrain resistance, it moves faster, and this will feel a lot faster than the T110E3. Plus, it has about 1000 more DPM. It's a lot more accurate, a lot faster to aim, has about the same view range, but better camo. Yeah, a lot better camo. Doesn't have as good penetration, but basically just shoot gold shell, doesn't matter. So it has more health, slightly less weight though, interesting. So yeah, I still think this is a very, very good vehicle. Very good. And it has 10 degrees of gun depression, so a little bit better at haul down than the E3. And it's a lot more comfortable than the 8 degrees to each side, the gun traverse arc. So, you have to gold shell this thing, or artillery this thing, but Jesus Christ. And there you go, folks, the Badger. So I do recommend you checking out this vehicle, currently on the 9.21 test server, because it's pretty insane. Since we have all corridor maps, everybody just camps, and this thing could shoot like a sniper or spearhead like a assault gun. So dual purpose, and it's pretty relatively fast without actual weak spot. So yeah, it is a gold shell magnet, but it could actually bounce the gold shells as well. So it's not as well protected in some terms as the E3, but it should feel a lot faster with 1000 more DPM. That's a big, big, big plus. So yeah, it's free if you already have the FV215b 1A3. So I do recommend you getting the boomstick, the Death Star, before the switch, because 2 vehicles for the price of 1. Also, on the FV215b 1A3, it gets buffed with this patch, because originally it has only 12 rounds, now it has 20, so you can spam the head shell even more. That's also a big plus too. Costs a lot too. 8,000 credits for a head shell? Sure, you instant kill any tier 8s. No problem. But with the current matchmaking, it's like 40% grand battles, 40% other tier 10s, maybe 20% against tier 8s, maybe. So who knows, but this vehicle, not bad. Not bad at all. Pretty insane if you ask me. No weak spots, big powerful gun, dual purpose, sniper, assault gun, whatever you want. A lot of armor. Jesus Christ, it's scary. So there you go, folks. The Badger for you. But thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
6 times a knocking on the door. No response, but hey, you're ready. Back to back. Death comes arriving on a midnight train. Back to back. Conscience is screaming to the air.